The next thing I want to talk about, because we've talked about notes. Notes are all fine and good. I want to talk about something like even more important to soloing, and especially playing melodically. Not only can you only play what you hear, you can only mean what you interpret. Beware the beginner's fallacy. That's when you project your own limited understanding onto a recording you hear. We're always doing this. We're always in a state of lacking knowledge, but assuming that we know more than we actually do. You guys might laugh at just the image of me like showing my friends back home John Coltrane, but it's happened. And then the response you get is like, oh man, like they're just jamming, like they're jamming. And that's great. I understand. It's a nice sentiment that they're saying, but like if you're like really studying this music, you got to go further than that. Okay. So the antidote to that is you must always assume there's more going on that you don't understand. Like when I would listen to like Kind of Blue as a kid, because my dad would play it all the time when I was little, and I loved John Coltrane, and I could get that there were like gestures to his playing, that like what he was playing was evoking a shape and a line and a dynamic, right? A textural dynamic. Not just, dynamics don't just mean loud, soft. You can be dynamic texturally, you can be dynamic tonally, or the pitch going up and down. That's a dynamic. Dynamic just means change over time. That John Coltrane would play a line where he would like play 6 or 7 notes and they're all slightly flat until the last one's like a little high or something, you know, like super dynamic playing. And that everything was evoking a gesture of some kind, like a whoosh or like a splat or a honk on the low end, or just like everything was very physical and very like, yeah, intentionally doing something. And then at some point when I got into high school and I obsessed over notes and stuff, and I just wanted to get a handle on the notes, then I actually started to forget about that. And then when I was in college again, I started listening with more detail, trying to interpret, right? You can only mean what you interpret. I wanted to mean more with my playing, and I realized that I wasn't interpreting much from these guys. I was just like looking at the notes. I wasn't digging on like, dude, this is Hank Mobley playing Remember. Let me just pull this up really quick. Okay, already. Notice how short the last notes of each of these are. It's like super short, kind of short, kind of short. Short, longer, little longer. Ah, guys, you can't tell me that Hank Mobley, one of the greatest tenor players of all time, plays that 7 notes, the last note, there's 7 of them and all of them are different lengths. You can't tell me that's not on purpose. Guys, that's crazy. Think about that level of detail. People just skate over this shit. They listen to Hank Mobley and they're like, oh, it sounds chill. Oh, they're just jamming. Oh yeah, that stuff's cool. Yeah, but I like the modern stuff because there's not much going on. Don't tell me there's not a lot going on. The phrasing is so hyper detailed. If you don't interpret details, you're not gonna play them. Like, you have to hear that. Now, it doesn't mean you have to hit stop every single time. You're not going to hear every thousandth of a detail every time you're listening. I mean, you're going to drive yourself nuts. But you also do have to integrate when it's studying time. You know, maybe you don't do this with 1,000 recordings in your life, but you got to have like 20 or 30 at least where you know all these intricate details. Because then you're going to start playing detailed. And it's a problem if you don't play detailed. How can you be unique if you don't have details? Think about it. If there's no detail to your playing, where are you going to be unique? So you have to be detailed. So that means you have to listen to details. You can only play what you hear. You can only mean what you interpret. And last but not least, your output is limited by your input. Input doesn't just mean listening to music all the time. It means integrating music, listening in high quality, high def attention. Your brain should be the equivalent of like, if your brain was a display, it should be high resolution. Really hearing detail. Oh, phrasing, you know. The notes are great. Notes are great. Playing a lot of notes. I love playing a lot of notes. But if you're not playing them detailed, dude, literally this weekend, this is why I'm fired up. My dad sent me a recording of me from 10 years ago. So I would have been 22. You know, my dad's a very supportive man. He's being very cool about it. I listen to it. I can't even get through it. I can't stand it. What's interesting about the musicianship that I'm playing, though, even though I don't like it at all, is that I'm actually playing more stuff. Like, I'm actually playing way more stuff than I would now. Every bar is like, here's a Mulgrew Miller thing I learned, and here's a Phineas Newborn Jr. trick, you know, and then a little Herbie trick that I only know how to play over that one chord whenever it comes around. All executed not very well. but I wasn't playing any of it detailed. I was just like skating over it, not good time, that the swing is loose, I'm not grooving with the drummer. The bassist is doing something completely unrelated to what I'm doing, and I'm not paying attention to him at all. I'm just doing my bag of tricks, because that's what I transcribed, right? And it just wasn't detailed. It wasn't interesting. It was like, I just, and that's okay. It's part of the development. I don't mean to say it was bad, but it's just like, I'm just explaining how important it is to, yeah, be detailed, listen to the details. We only got through 11 seconds of Hank Mobley, and there's something so interesting. Again, notice all 7 of these notes are unique length, except for maybe the first 2 are kind of the same length. Just the most elegant pimpin' playing you could possibly do. I mean, dude, you also got to remember, again, you can only mean what you interpret. Let's take it a step further. These guys were cool as fuck, okay? Like, they weren't, like, it doesn't matter whether you're cool or you're a nerd. I'm pretty nerdy myself. It doesn't matter. The point is he has a personality. Okay, this guy was cool as f. Okay, I mean, look at this cover art. This dude is cool as f. Have you ever taken a photo like that in your life? I don't mean to disrespect anybody. There might be 1 person or 2 people in this whole chat that's taken a photo that swaggy in their life. Okay, I'm not dissing anybody here. The point of what I'm saying is this man has a personality, and then the fact he plays like that. Doesn't matter what the personality is, if they're cool or not. It doesn't matter. The point is, like, the dude plays like that. Like, yes, can you stamp yourself on it? Get detailed in a way. Think about, like, what your essence is, and then what details can I do that evoke that for me that I like. Like, this dude clearly did that. Anyway, okay. You can only mean what you interpret. So he must have been listening to music that way. He must have been listening to music and been like, man, whoever did that, they're cool as fuck. And I think I'm cool as fuck, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently this way. And it's like part Dexter Gordon, part Sonny Rollins, right? These are guys that clearly Miles was his contemporary, but I'm sure he was very influenced by Miles's phrasing. Man, not to mention, dude, Art Blakey on drums, Wynton Kelly on piano. We don't talk about Wynton Kelly enough. The way jazz history is recorded is very different from how it actually went down. Wynton Kelly was the baddest motherfucker, period. Dude, you don't play in Miles's group for, what was it, 3 years, 4 years? 3 years he was in the band? You don't play in Miles Davis's group for 3 years and not be the baddest dude. And then he had his trio with Paul Chambers and Philly Joe Jones. And then for the rest of the 60s was like the baddest dude. He just wasn't putting out records and touring like that. He was just like in New York being amazing. Okay, I'm coming in hot today. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going hard. Going hard today.